Weldon Taylor. Do we need to worry about Charles Lester and KJ Bolden flipping?
Yep, I covered this, guys. If you go to the Premier Recruiting Board, I did a uh, step up to the mic, is what I call it, on my Tuesday thoughts. I went over this. I will address it here now. That no, I think there's concern just because anytime a kid visits, I mean, you're lying if you say you're not concerned. If there's not some just a little bit of concern, is it a high concern? No, it's not. I feel confident about both of those guys signing with FSU. I do. I think Charles Lessel will sign with FSU, and I expect KJ Bolden to sign with FSU. That's what I expect. But I'm not going to tell him that all the juicy stuff that I put in there because that's for the premium people. But that's my feeling. Regarding their recruitment, I think both of these guys are likely going to be there either Virginia Tech weekend or Syracuse weekend the following weekend. So, and I think both of them are probably going to be back for the Duke game, from what I was told from people around them. So no, I'm not too concerned. I know people get concerned when these recruits take visits, and then you start getting nervous because FSU's not hosting visits, and it's like I only start worrying when you know they have weekends and they don't come to FSU for visits. Like when that stops, then yeah, that's a sign that you're concerned. But I haven't heard anything alarming to me that tells me like, hey, I think these guys could be flipping their will flip. I think I feel good about where FSU stands with both of them at this point.
What are the threats? I've been under a rock just following the team that's 4-0 and ranked in the top 5. So is Florida might be a factor for Charles Lester, and what KJ Bolden is we're always going to be fearful of Georgia, I imagine. Is there anything
Yeah, I
else?
mean, yeah, I would say with Charles, you're always fearful with Colorado. Certainly with that, there's Colorado scares me more just than Florida, just because I've mentioned how the connectability to Dion and stuff like that. But Charles visited Florida. He liked it, but then later, when he got back communicating with FSU, everything was cool, and then he put up a tweet. Basically, he's like locked in, whatever. So I just, I just think kids are going to take visits, and now with social media, it's everything's so public and free that you react in a different way, and people don't know. So that's why kind of the question comes up that people are like, well, what is the deal? What is the deal? Is these guys a problem? So I'd say Florida and Colorado right now for Charles Lester, if there's a threat or of any kind, and then you also have Georgia, Auburn. I think Georgia and Auburn are places he's going to visit. So along with FSU several times. So I think this is just stuff you're going to have to deal with throughout the year, guys. And I'm going to be here every week, and I'll discuss it, but I feel good about their situation of where they sit. I think both of those guys are valued. Both of those guys are wanted. There isn't any they're not recruiting me harder or hard enough or whatnot. There's no ill feelings of what FSU's doing on the product on the field. Those kids feel very good about what FSU's doing. So I think it's just a situation where you're going to have visits, and they go visits and they check it out, and they're impressed. And Charles had a good time at Florida, but at the same time, you know, he knows how he feels about FSU, and he said that. So, and I haven't heard anything to really put me in a very concerned type of state of mind, when it comes to either Charles or KJ. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Michael, do you think Luke Kromenhoek will come in and compete right away in the spring at quarterback?
I think Luke will do really well. If you're asking me, he wins the job. I think it'll be similar to kind of what we saw from Brock, where we saw Norvell rave a lot about him, and maybe there's some things that Brock does better than anybody else on the roster. But you still have to learn the stuff, and that takes time and game reps and stuff like that. I do think he'll make a splash. I think it'll be similar to Brock, probably even a little higher, because I think Luke's the best overall prospect that they have that they brought in at quarterback, in my opinion. So I think he's going to add a lot more. He's going to give you a little more juice. I don't think if you're asking for a starting position, no, I don't think he's going to be that good, but I do think he's going to push them and push other guys. And I do think He will certainly flash if everything kind of goes the way I think it will go, because he has the arm strength that Brock does. He has the mobility. He has everything that you're kind of looking for. How he manipulates the pocket is really good. But there's also a learning curve for kids that come out of high school at quarterback to college. I mean, it's going to take time. So not going to predict like a starting job or anything, but I do think he'll have a similar, if not a little bigger boom than kind of the way I think things went for Brock Glenn, this fall, this year so far.
Noel Cab. I wonder if he's a fan of Cabernet Sauvignon, or maybe just drives a cab.
Okay.
How is Luke's senior season progressing so far? Is he living up to the ranking hype?
Well, he keeps going up in the ranking, and we talked about rankings earlier with Landon. Now Luke's all the way up to 21 nationally. So I'd say he's living up to the ranking. Now, as far as my personal eyes and what I see, yeah, Luke's done really well. Had a really good season. I think they're undefeated. Beat a really good Ware County team over there in Georgia that won a state championship the year before. They're playing really well, and Luke's having to do a few extra different things, like a little more running, a little more, improvising as far as making plays. And so I think he's living up to everything. I think he's as good as I think most people thought he was, and I think he's even showing even better kind of stuff that a lot of national, you know, analysts and stuff that evaluate him probably didn't realize he's so far along as far as in a lot of areas, and a lot of that's more so passing and the way he sees the field.
Apparently, according to Max Preps, it looks like, I don't know how many games this is for. 5 games? That can't be 5 games, but they had him for like 10 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 812 passing yards.
Yeah, easiest way to follow that, guys. We have a thing called Friday Night Rewind. It's on
Oh,
the
all
front
right.
page of Warchant. It
All
tells you
right.
the stats every week.
All
See,
right.
I even got to educate Aslan, my boy.
All
So I
right.
mean, I got to hook him up.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Let's see here. Michael Flynn, or William Flynn, not Michael Flynn. He's that would be weird if he was watching our show.
It
William
would.
Flynn. Good afternoon, guys. Michael, is your job easier or harder with the success the Florida State is earning or having?
Oh man, William, much easier. It's always easy. We want positive stuff. I don't like bringing people bad news. And it's good for business when and Aslan can attest to this in the team side of things. When things are good, it's easier to your product. It's easier to sell. People are excited about it. Fans are excited about it. You guys watching this is excited about it. Our members are excited about it. Same thing with recruiting. When you're good, everything's rolling. It's exciting. People are happy. And there's a lot of positive buzz around this program and everything they're doing. So definitely makes my job a lot easier. Now I'm still going to grind. I'm going to grind whether it's bad or good. It doesn't matter. I'm going to grind, but I don't have to do as much stuff as far as digging and stuff, other stuff like that than I do, when things are bad. It's kind of like it's more forced when things are bad, but when things are good, I mean, it's really it's very smooth and it's kind of just everything flows into itself. But that's a good question, William.
Underrated recruit 24 class. Matter Daddy wonders. He says BJ Gibson.
All right, let's look at the list as I'm pulled up. BJ is definitely at the top, one of the top ones for me.
All right.
I agree with that one. I just want to see the list because there might be somebody I'm forgetting. Let's roll on down, kind of zoom in a little bit. Yep, going down. Those are the top tier ones.
How do they sort? Are they sorted by their? I mean, it's because it's not alphabetical and it's not
I
when
think
they
it's just.
committed. Is it
It
their
looks like.
ranking?
Yeah, I don't know because it's not. You first you would say you see KJ at the top and you're like, okay, it's sorted by like who's highest ranked, but it's not because then you got Luke and Luke's higher than Landon. So I don't
I
know.
think it's this number. Whatever
Okay,
this number indicates,
okay,
I think that's what it is.
okay. Well, going
There it
down.
is. Anyway,
Let's go. Yeah. So far, I would agree with the BJ Gibson one. Based on what I've seen.
hard to call a 4-star underrated, right?
Yeah.
All the BJ's 4-star on 3. It looks like.
I would say BJ. I'll go with you, Matter. I mean,
All right.
I like the BJ Gibson pick. I will say this because I want to be fair. I want to pick my own too. BJ Gibson or Jaden Parrish. Those would be my two. Like I absolutely love watching Jaden Parrish. You know, when I watch the film and I watch the game films, heat sinking missile. Guy gets to the ball really quick, just explosive. Does so many things. Plays offense too. He scored 3 touchdowns in one game. They are not afraid to use their athlete, and I really impressed with Jaden Parrish. I mean, I am shocked really that kid's not a 4 star yet. Like at this point. Just love his game. I love his athletic ability. I love how he gets off blocks. Just a fun kid to watch when you watch him play football. And there's no surprise that several teams were trying to get in there. I think early on, heard a lot about Auburn and Penn State, but I think FSU was the best at getting in there the earliest. And obviously Randy Shannon had a big part in that recruitment. But that's the kid I if you're asking me for a surprise in the class, that's a guy I think will have a great career at FSU. I think he just fits that linebacker core, what they're looking for.
All right, we've hit it. Top of the hour. I just, let's do everything here by the book. Let's be kind. Let's be considerate. Let's ask for permission and consent. But can anybody in Miami get a better photo of our guy Jamari Flagg?
I'm with you, man.
Can anybody? Anybody down there, just to be like, hey, Mr. Flagg, do you mind if I take your photo real quick with my phone? I'm gonna send it to On3 so that your database photo can be updated. I don't even know what he looks like.
I will make this promise, Aslan. When I go to South Florida, I will get up with Jamari and I will get a picture. I will get a headshot, real perfect headshot. It'll be best. We just want to see your awesome face, Jamari. That's the only thing Aslan's saying.
Yeah, man. That's all I want.